time is it?
6:01.
This meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement, the Cape May Star and Wave, the Herald, and on the Township website, as well as posted on the bulletin board at Township Hall.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad?
Here.
Councilmember Neville?
Here.
Councilmember Simonson?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Clark? Mayor Beck?
Here. The Cape May County Electronic Recycling with Gary Douglas, again, is postponed. I don't think, Gary's been out all day with the snow that we had, so it wouldn't be fair to bring him in to have him have to do that, so we'll catch up with him at the next meeting. So we're moving down to the consent agenda. Does anybody on council have any questions or comments on the consent agenda?
I had a question on, I have to find it now. Give me 1 second. Just on the amount for Wynn's Consultant, it says an increase of 16. $06033.
Where's this at in?
Yes.
Which resolution are you referring to?
In the vouchers.
Oh, in the
vouchers.
vouchers. Oh, okay. Yes. The consultant for the,
Yeah, it says increase. What is that? 16.5.
that was from last year. When we originally contracted, we didn't have the money in the bank. So we pushed off paying that.
That's part of
So we signed them, yeah, we
Is
signed.
121 part of that?
Is what?
Is that part of the overall? So that's not in addition to?
No, it's a separate contract.
Okay.
That was the balance,
Yeah.
Councilman, that was owed to him, because we could only pay so much to clean out 2013, we didn't have enough money for the full contract.
Gotcha. I just saw increase on there. I just had a question. That's fine.
All right, public comment on consent agenda. Close the public portion.
Approval of minutes from March 3rd, 2014. Resolutions number 2014-88 through 2014-94.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Neville?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Regular agenda.
Please.
Resolution number 2014-95. A resolution authorizing the donation of winter police jackets no longer needed for public use to Lower Cape May Regional High School's school-based youth services.
Okay. Any council comments? Open up to public comment. It's a good deal that the police department does, correct? I think they've done it every year, haven't they, for a while now? They donate jackets that they no longer need, and they go to the regional high school, so we thank them for that. Okay, close the public portion. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Neville?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Abstain.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Resolution number 2014-96, appointment of acting municipal engineer for 2014 without public bidding. This is Engineering Design Associates, not to exceed $5,000.
Okay. Any council comments on this? Open up the public comment on this. Ask for a motion to approve. We have a motion to approve. I'll make the motion. Do I have a second? I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Neville?
Abstain.
Councilmember Simonson?
No.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. It's only required that you have a majority of quorum. Mr. Neville can't be counted towards that quorum, so you'll have 3, and you have 2 votes in favor, that motion carries.
Thank you. Move down to the next.
Ordinance number 2014-01, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. This is an annual ordinance required prior to the approval of the budget by the Director of Local Government Services. This is the second reading and the public hearing of this ordinance.
Any council comments? I don't want to get into this one. All right, open it up for public comments on this ordinance. Close the public portion. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Neville?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2014-03, an ordinance amending Chapter 7 entitled Traffic of the Code of the Township of Lower. This ordinance regulates parking on 3rd Avenue from Route 109 to Wissahickon Avenue. This is also the second reading and the public hearing for this ordinance.
Okay, is there any council comments on this ordinance?
Just clarifying that that's south of the canal, because there's a Wissahickon very close on the other side. Another public manager that, but
By looking, isn't it somewhere?
correct.
What as the councilman was saying, what they're doing is taking the no parking from the one side of the street to the other. It's been run, the whole idea's been ran by the fire bureau to make sure we can make a turn on the fire truck so it's 80 foot back, and that's in Eric's district.
Okay. Do we have any public comment on that ordinance? Okay, close the public portion. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Neville?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2014-04, an ordinance of the Township of Lower amending and restating Chapter 351, flood damage prevention. This is the second reading and public hearing for this ordinance.
Okay, do I have any council comments on this ordinance?
Just for clarification for the public, this doesn't mean we are standing down for FEMA. We just have to pass this law. I said this last year. We have to step back and pass this law, make sure everything goes forward. We are still fighting FEMA, the preliminary maps, everything else. Nothing changes on that end.
Very good. Is there any public comments on this ordinance? Close the public portion. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Neville?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes. Move down to administrative reports. Does anybody have any questions or comments on administrative reports? We'll go to council comments. Councilman Tom?
First, I want to thank everyone for their consideration and for me missing the last meeting, passing my father-in-law. I want to thank them for their thoughts and prayers to the family. Second, MUA. A lot of people going to tax sale for the MUA. I do not know when the township became the billing service for the MUA. We received the kind of suggestion box that they didn't appreciate that fact. I don't appreciate the fact. I brought it up a quarter ago when people were receiving threats to go to tax sale when their bill was not even due. Now we're getting more people, they're getting notification. We're not billing the people. I had it explained to me by the clerk manager and the solicitor. It's a process that the property is putting a lien on it, they're billing the property. My problem is, years ago, MUA used to bill, and then they would warn you, send you another bill, and this could take a little bit of time for a process to go through. Then they would possibly shut off your services. Then it would go to tax sale. Well, now that MUA has a billing service. The township still acts as the collection agency, but what is the billing service doing? We're being made to look like the bad guys over here. We're just following the law. But what happened to looking out for the little guy? Why aren't they doing that? We try to do everything we can to help people. The MUA is automatically sending people to the tax lien for a bill that possibly is not due, or B, it's like a couple weeks overdue. Something has to be done on that, and I think we should look into it because we're doing a lot of collecting, yet we get nothing out of it. Fishing Creek, that was brought up to me. We are waiting word about the flooding in Fishing Creek. If you go past the villas heading to the DAB or anywhere else in Delhaven, north on Bay Shore, you'll notice the water is incredibly high. We got a lot of snow. It's going to be melting. It's going to be going into there. The groundwater has nowhere to go. If you go under your house, north end of the villas, you could have bought it. It could have been dry, like mine. Now it's moist. I think that's part of the groundwater problem. They put a dam basically there, 3 pumps, back in 1993, I believe it was. Since then, the north end of the village and parts of Middle Township are now seeing a lot more water in the woods if you drive in Flowing Mill and other areas. Last year, we were told that the county was going to put it out to bid and they were getting an engineering service. We have not yet heard anything about that project. Most of the pumps aren't running, and back last year, one of the pumps was down, one was supposedly intermittent. They are manual pumps. They're not set on automatic flow. This is a problem when we're looking at FEMA coming in here with preliminary maps, putting us all in flood zones, and certain areas being now put in flood zones. Why are we allowing certain areas to flood from groundwater? And these places, and they're telling us about the storms. We have to act now. We have to start mitigating the problems that we have. We have to fix our infrastructure. That's a priority. We don't want anyone losing their homes. There's some people that are worried about mold and everything else. And actually, their structure, with enough groundwater, their structures can start to go. Let's try to help our residents. I think we should do a resolution possibly pushing the county to start acting on doing something with water and Fishing Creek.
Mayor, if I might, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tom is right on the money. The manager's office, clerk's office gets complaints about the billing situation where people put the tax sale by the MUA. And also, Councilman Neville had a meeting with the Public Works Director, and I sat in on it, dealing with, we get blamed for the road that weren't restored properly where those water lines were put in. So, Jim, I guess you want to touch on that?
Will do.
And performance bonds. Other than that, everyone I hope you're having a safe St. Patrick's Day and enjoy it.
The first thing I want to do is thank the Public Works for clearing the streets as well as they did today, and the police for all the things that they do to keep people going correctly when it's terrible weather out there. Yes, we did have a meeting with the MUA. We were speaking of the roads that were not restored properly, hoping that we're going to come to some conclusion where the MUA is going to go to the paving contractors that's still inside the contracts that haven't been completed yet, and that may begin sooner rather than later. A lot sooner than Clubhouse Road. Clubhouse Road is, matter of fact, I see our engineering firm representative there. Clubhouse Road had a timetable that was given to us whereby we're going to wait until after Whale of the Day, which is July 3rd, and it should be shovel ready by the 1st of September. It's right a day after Labor Day. That'll be a 60-day contract from what the engineer report has. That's Hatchmont McDonald. They're also the one that was doing the Roseanne Avenue storm drain. Have we gotten that report back yet from Hatchmont?
Yes, we have the preliminary reports back on the assignments that they were given.
But at least now we have a definitive timetable. They did some test bores because they found that Beverly Avenue has some drainage issues as well. And it'll all be taken care of in one contract. So at least there's progress. And to help with the FEMA, there's also been work on a resiliency grant, and that will help with the infrastructure down at Coxhall Creek. And if we can prove that the elevation of some of our barriers from the bay are high enough, hopefully that'll help with the FEMA insurance rates. Oh, and as far as my abstention, my son worked for EDA last year. I did the ethics class up at the 2 years in a row up in League of Municipalities, and he's not an employee of EDA. He was an intern that was paid. He's in college now, but since that was his last job, I felt it best, there doesn't seem to be any conflict of interest whatsoever, to abstain.
Thank you. All right.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. I needed some clarification, and I know I talked to the clerk about, I was unaware that, I guess it was a payment made to the deputy mayor for almost $500, and I wanted to get some clarification on what that was for. I was told a Facebook page, and I don't know who to direct the question to, but...
Yeah, that was for the Facebook account. And
They would not accept our vouchers. They would not accept our method of payment.
Yeah, but Facebook's free when you set it up. That's why I don't, you know.
Yeah,
I think it's something about the likes. I don't have Facebook.
it's an advertisement for the community. It's on, I'm not on Facebook, so I don't completely understand it. But Julie's right, and I'm glad you remind me that they wouldn't take. So Norris put it on his card, and he's to be reimbursed for that amount, I guess. I don't know, I can't honestly tell you because I don't follow the Facebook like some people, how many hits, but I was told we had a lot of results, according to Jack Victor, our public information officer. And it's all positive stuff about what's going on here.
Township doesn't have a credit card.
No, we don't have a credit card.
That was the whole.
Yeah, but there's still something discerning about someone on council using a credit card to pay for something that we didn't vote on. I mean, that bothers me.
Well, we do vote on things, and I mean.
But we didn't vote on it. I
Well,
mean,
it was on the bill list, but, you know, there's times like when I personally had to buy things for the township.
Right.
The other day, I just almost bought a clock, believe it or not, for the Milman Center. Some of the older folks said, we need a
Absolutely.
big clock. And I was at Big Lots with my wife, and for 20 bucks, you can get a big, I didn't buy it, but I was telling Mitch, you know, when he goes in there and buys it, you know, we'll give him his 20 bucks back or whatever,
Well,
because they won't accept our voucher.
We do this, and I mean, like, for
It was-
instance, we got a call from the radio station that wanted us to do something with the basketball team. Well, we're not gonna come out here and set it up and put it on the agenda and sit here for 2 meetings discussing.
That was $60 that I authorized.
Well, I'm just saying that that's your job.
Yeah.
There's a certain
Right.
amount of money, he authorizes how it's spent.
yeah, but that wasn't put on the person's credit card where they can get cash back.
Well, the
or
reason,
points or-
is if that's what you're saying, if you feel that there's something that's wrong.
Well, no, the problem is, I mean,
What is it you're saying?
there was just some, you know,
What do you, I'm
we
not
got
sure
rid
what
of an
you're saying.
executive director at the MUA for allegedly buying things on his credit card and using them for, I'm just saying, I wasn't aware that we even had a Facebook page, and I sit up here on council.
It's fine, but he came here and in goodwill, he wants.
Hey, that's crazy, I know, I realize.
He
it's
wants
not-
to-
You should get on Facebook.
Yeah,
I am, you know, it's funny, I do,
If you're on Facebook, you would see it.
yeah, well,
but if you.
I've set up Facebook and it takes, you know,
Listen,
it's free.
listen.
So I don't get what $500
I
buys you,
think,
but-
you know, unfortunately, the deputy mayor's not here to defend himself. And, you know, you have to be real careful here.
Well, I think it's poor practice that we use credit cards when it hasn't been discussed.
Well, I don't
Did you
think we-
discuss it with them?
We don't have a credit card in the township, and that's the whole issue that we have here. He came in.
But Mike, you're
in
missing
good
a
faith.
point. It's free. It's a free service. You
Well,
can
this is
sign
a
up for
different,
free.
this is different. He paid.
It's different. It's $500 difference. That's a big difference.
All right.
Taxpayer money. I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's something that we should
Jack,
discuss.
can you clarify this?
Yeah, Eric, if you're on Facebook, sometimes they say we can boost your post for $30. We'll put this post out to like, 4,000 or 5,000.
I'm well aware of that, yeah.
So that's what Norris did because when I started.
But it's not Norris's place to take it upon himself to do that.
He came in and got permission to do it with the manager. He went and tried to see if we had a credit card. And
Well, that's not what the manager told me. He said he was unaware of it too.
Well, look, let me be honest about this thing, and we're all being as honest as we can. Like I said, I wasn't aware of it in the beginning, and this was an honest, if you want to call it a mistake, it was an honest mistake on ours because we didn't have a voucher or whatever, and I guess he checked with Julie about a voucher, I'm not sure. But believe me, there was no intent to do anything wrong. But I respect what you're saying about.
Again, it's a lack of process. I mean, we had it over at the MUA, we had the same thing happen. Obviously, $500 is different than probably what was going on over there.
Well, this is-
$500 is a lot of money.
And I have another question, which is, you voted for this last meeting.
No, I didn't.
Well, I thought you.
Well, I missed the vouchers. That's why I went back and asked.
Well, then you didn't do your homework.
You're right, you're right.
All right?
So it's okay to do illegal
And
stuff.
why don't you wait
Yes.
until the guy's here, and he'll be here at the next meeting, and then you bring the issue up to him?
Because then he would have said, why'd you wait 2 meetings to bring it up?
Well, my question is, why didn't you do your homework?
It was on the last
and
page
bring
of
it
the
up-
vouchers, I missed it, and I
And
went
bring it
back and
up
saw
when he was sitting here.
Gentlemen,
The point, Mike, you're missing a point, so it's okay to do it, is what you're
No, I'm saying that he came in to find a credit card that the township had. Township didn't have a credit card in order this to go through.
Well, then we should have discussed it and agreed that
Well,
use that credit card.
And again, I'm in the unfortunate position of trying to defend somebody. I don't know the
Well,
entire.
let me ask you this, did you know about it?
I don't know when I knew about it, being honest about it, something that came through, I think we discussed it a while back or something like that, there was no credit card. I didn't know exactly what this was.
So this, he went ahead and did it without your knowledge then?
Well, there's a lot of stuff that gets done in township without my knowledge. I'm
But-
not here to put a stamp on everything. He spends
Listen,
money
you're
every
gonna
day.
spend $500 of tax people's, and nobody else knows about it. We got that's a problem.
Well-
I mean, I realize that, you know, it's,
If anything, it's an honest mistake.
okay.
It's something that we don't practice doing all the time, and Norris, all he wants to do is promote this town, and he's done it well.
I get it. I get it.
But I understand what you're saying, and that won't happen again. We do not have a credit card. There's been emergencies where I wish
The
we
point
did
is,
have.
Mike, the bottom line is you can't do it. It's illegal. Okay? That's all.
Point I would like to, real quick,
Mike, did you know about it, Tom? Did you know? Huh?
no,
Councilman Neville, did you know about it?
no.
There, see.
I think as we step into the future, there's a lot of murky areas as ethics is slowly changing. We went to different meetings. This is, I think, an ethical pitfall where we have to look at it and say, council cannot do this. We can't fix the past, we can't do that. There may be some questions and some other things, but I think we have to make it a policy. Council does not do this. Now, if an employee did it, I had no problem with it.
Well, not only that, if I write my own articles and boost my own articles on the township, that's not ethical.
I would like to see exactly what we're talking about because the guy's not here.
No, and I'm not talking about,
That's kind
Okay.
of unfair.
okay, I'm not talking about a single person. I'm saying, I've been to different ethics seminars, the last one we were at, social media, there's a lot of things you have to watch. That's what I'm saying, it's a murky area.
Listen, no one here
I wanna
deals with
protect
social
you.
media more than I do on a daily basis. Trust me, I understand all that, and that's why I'm bringing it up, that you can't do that. You can't use your credit card to do something without the rest of the council's knowledge. Apparently, the mayor and the deputy mayor are the only two that knew about it. That's a problem.
Well, I chose not to know about Facebook because I don't really do Facebook.
I'm not
I
on
stay off.
Facebook either. I have nothing to do with that stuff. I mean, Norris was tasked initially with the economic development. And, you know, he's done a remarkable job in a lot of ways. I think it's something that, you know, is a hallmark. And I think is a question of trying to advertise the township is what we're looking at.
That's great, then go about it the right way and do it legally. That's all I'm asking. Is that too much to ask up here?
Thank you.
Council, will never happen again. It was an honest mistake, and I really believe that.
And,
I don't think I knew he didn't think he was doing anything wrong.
Well, maybe not. Maybe it was discussed on one of the days of the meetings, you know.
And it would have been nice if he had
You guys
read the agenda and challenged him when he was sitting here. Instead of waiting until he's not here.
Well, how about this? Maybe it was discussed on a Monday, but the day of a meeting,
Right.
when you guys meet with the solicitor and the manager, which I just found out that I never knew about it, nor was
I
invited.
do that. I do that every meeting day for hours and hours. And I sit here, and you know what I do, Eric? I do my homework. Like
Yep.
you expect your kids to do homework, and we can sit back and look at the times where you have failed to do your homework.
Well,
And we can-
I've
we
done
can-
my homework. I'm well aware of the Faulkner Act and the Sunshine Law, and for you and the deputy mayor to sit in a meeting with
There we
the
go.
solicitor and the town manager, and the rest of us don't know about it, I find that a problem.
You can meet them with the manager anytime you want.
I know.
Those Monday meetings are also open to all the council, I know that.
So you know that. That's great. Did you know that, Tom? Because I didn't know
He
it.
said, I knew about it, but it's usually,
I was never informed, nor was I invited.
Right.
So, and for those that don't know, you're only allowed to have two council members.
Exactly,
in
that's
there.
why if we were there, Norris wouldn't go.
You know,
Well, if I even knew about the meetings, I would understand that. I
when
mean,
you're
I would.
going to let
I
me
would.
know, I'd like to get a word in.
Go ahead.
You know, it takes a lot of work to be in government, and it takes a lot of time. And on Mondays, I'm down here, and I can tell you, like, how often do you see somebody up here mention a bill, like tonight? But I can tell you, here's an example of a bill list that I ask questions about. You can ask Julie. I ask dozens of questions every Monday to make sure when I come out here, I know exactly what we have. I'm the point person. I meet with the solicitor, I meet with the manager, I meet with the clerk, sometimes the deputy mayor, but quite frequently department heads. So I'm prepared when I come out here. I do my homework. Now I'm going to bring up a number of issues where you didn't do your homework. Because this isn't simply about agendas coming out on Wednesday and waiting for the trap door to spring come Monday. It's about finding out exactly what's going on in government. It takes a lot of time. You expect your kids to do homework in the school. I think we expect you to do your homework. And we're going to start at the beginning with this, because I really didn't want to go there, but week after week I'm getting hit, and I don't feel it's fair. So we'll start with.
I merely brought up a bill that I had questions about.
And you did, and
that obviously we've all agreed that was
I thought you were done.
was wrong.
My response was to you that last meeting, it was on the bill list. When the deputy mayor was sitting here, you could have said something to you. Your response was you didn't see it. We go back and we had a closed session October 7th that involved the acceptance of awards for the Animal Control Service. Now, we're bad. We forgot that Eric won in November, but at that closed session on October 7th, we had discussed the animal control contract and shifting it out. Now, it was put on the agenda for the January 6th meeting. The agenda is mailed out Friday, January 3rd. So there's 3 days for you to read the agenda and call here and find out what that's about. But no, we come to council and the trapdoor springs.
Wait, that wasn't.
I get that. All right,
let
you
me
can
just
respond when I'm done.
I will, but that particular
Okay.
thing, it was never discussed or mentioned to me. I saw it on the agenda. I'm not blind. I can read.
Well,
and
why
I did
didn't you,
that.
let me ask you, why didn't you pick the phone up? Because in the transfer of power from Glenn to you with the election, it skipped the manager's mind that you had not been at the closed session where we got approval to move forward with the animal services. But that's one, that's the first one.
And I
So we
merely
go
asked.
to-
I merely asked to table it so we could
Let me
discuss
move-
it. That,
let me move-
if anyone remembers that, I
You
did
could have
not.
called here, but you didn't call anybody. So here we go now to the next meeting, which is January 2nd, 22nd. And this has to do with the MUA appointment, putting it on the agenda. That original, again, the agenda came out on the 17th, 5 days before the meeting. You had 5 days to look at the agenda and have the appointment put on the agenda if you so wanted. It's a simple fact. Then we go to the next one, which is the meeting for the actual appointment, the following meeting. That meeting's February 3rd. The appointments, all of the applications were mailed out on Friday, January 24th, which is a full 10 days in advance. We wait until we get to this meeting. You could have called at any time. There's a difference between having a question and objecting to something or putting a stick in the spoke. You had 10 days to find out whether Brian O'Connor was actually in conflict. But you wait until we're sitting up here and you raise that issue. We got a solicitor.
You're right,
You could
I
have
did.
called him and you could have done something about it, but it took 10 days. Those things were in your lap and you did nothing.
And how long did you have the applications when I made a motion to
So,
pick someone
I'm
that
just-
put in for? No, I'm asking you a question now.
No, wait until I'm done, then you can have the floor. Let me finish what I'm trying to say here. What my feeling is, this is a microcosm of what you got in Washington. It's not a question of trying to accomplish something other than just trying to stop government. Putting a stick in the spokes. Do your homework, councilman. Pick up, if you can't do it, if you don't have the time, say so. But you had 10 days to find out whether Brian O'Connor was actually in conflict, and you didn't do it.
And you had 2 months to review the applicants and the resumes, and you didn't do it.
You had 10 days to sit back and say, this guy works for the county, I'm going to, instead you come to the meeting when we're ready to make an appointment and raise your hand.
How come-
Now that's putting a stick in the spoke of government. That's not accomplishing anything. It's exactly what's going on in Washington. It's wrong there and it's wrong here. It's not a team player concept. It's just trying to got you. Pull the trap door. You could have gone in even tonight and asked the manager, did he come in and question you about the credit card with NARS?
We talked about it today.
I mean, could you have clarified it with NARS? Could you have said?
He wasn't sure, so
You know,
that's why
okay.
I brought it before.
Okay, but I'm not done yet, okay? Even with the last meeting with EDA, the appointment for the
Interim engineer.
engineer, Julie, tell me how we changed what we do here to accommodate the good councilman. The draft agenda, explain that.
We used to send out the total agenda on Fridays.
Okay, so what do we do now?
Now, on Wednesdays, we send out draft agendas so that if there's something that needs to be put on there, if something was forgotten, if something fell through the cracks, if you have something you don't want on the agenda, without interacting with each other, you interact directly with either the manager or myself, and we try to accommodate everybody's needs so that what statutorily has to be done is done, and then, you know, if anybody has any questions, we try to answer them the best we can.
Yeah, so we
Correct.
changed it. We changed the way we're doing business here to try and accommodate that. I want peace up here.
But you're,
But-
listen, you're misrepresenting, you're
I'm still
taking,
talking.
well, no, well, listen, when you're gonna tell me what I did and what I said, when that's not what I
I'm
did.
just telling dates.
If you remember the last meeting, if your memory serves you correct, maybe it's a little hazy, I don't know, but we talked about the engineer. I said that if we're gonna hire an engineer to represent the township, I think we should discuss it possibly in closed session or something like that. You didn't wanna hear that.
Okay.
That's all. I had no problem with, you know, and we could have came to that conclusion. The problem I'm having is the process. And the process is, you do what you want, and you don't care what everybody, I mean, because, you know.
It sounds good, it sounds good. Now, what
I
I
mean,
say is,
and the animal control, I said,
Calm
let's
down.
table it,
Calm down.
so we could have a chance to
Okay.
discuss it as a
my
council.
response.
Because I wasn't on council, I'm talking now. I wasn't on
I
council
know,
when
you
you did
interrupted
discuss
me to
it.
begin talking, I
Well,
forgot.
because you're trying to tell me what I said, I know what I said.
Okay, let me know when you're done. You say to me, we hold meetings before council meetings, and we do. And I'm proud that I do. I put a lot of time down here. And I come here and I do, again, what I call my homework. I'm ready for council meetings. I sit back. I do the best I can to represent the township. I really, you know, Tom, you were here for the past year. There was peace up here. I want there to be peace here, but we can't have trapdoors. I can't come to the meeting. The agenda is 80 pages long this week. 80 pages. You can turn to page 52 or something and find something and spring it on us, and I'm not going to know every answer that's there. I work like crazy to try and be ready for this, but at the same time, you know, cooperate with us. And
I would
try
love
and
to, I would love to be
cooperate.
incled so I can
And
cooperate.
you know,
I appreciate that
one
offer.
last thing. I'll tell you the difference, and one of the things that it's about not being included. There's a difference between, and this is my opinion, difference between not doing your homework and not being included. And I'll tell you, when I was here before, a couple of years back, and we got an ordinance maybe an hour, hour and a half before a council meeting that I refused. I went off the deep end. And the next day I found out that that email had been sent to 2 other council people the day before. Now that's called not being included. All right, there's a difference between that or, say, for instance, having 10 days to look at, you know, the MUA applications, and then coming in here at the last minute and asking us if there's a conflict.
Or 2 months of having it and then
I-
denying it, you know, that
You
he's
know,
fallen.
at the end of it, you could have, because it never dawned on me that it could be, any more than you'd be in conflict because you're representing the, or you work at the school. Okay, same deal, he works at the county, you work at the school, you know, I don't see the difference. The end result of that is that if you were that interested in finding out if he had a conflict, during the 10 days you would have found out. If you were interested in log jamming, putting the stick in the spoke, you would do exactly what you did, which is to come to the council meeting and stop the whole train.
Well, Mike,
Go ahead, Jim,
Well,
you had
what-
something to say.
Eric, you know what, if I may,
by all means.
this, keeping you out of the loop, there are sunshine laws, and we do follow them. When we do have our JIF meetings, and it was $200.50 saved for every council member and manager was there, we had a seat at the table for you. You're the only one absent. Tom and I, we went to the ethics, then we also went to the...
I was at the ethics too, I get.
Okay, well then, it's kind of to throw the word illegal around whenever you want, just to make it sound good. You know, it impugns the reputation of people like Brian O'Connor. And no, I did not have...
I never
did
said,
not-
you guys are putting words in my
You
mouth,
said
listen.
his
appointment.
If you guys want to gang up on me, do it out back afterwards and see how it goes, all right? But I'm telling you right now, I wasn't, listen, I wasn't trying, I merely asked a question. I had a question to make sure we were doing, I don't think there's a problem with making sure we're doing something the right way and the process.
Branched off of there,
Okay?
what criticism
And
of
wait a
the
second,
meeting.
wait a second. The MUA, which you're telling me I had 10 days, we all had the applications and the resumes, for weeks leading up to that meeting. But yet, that wasn't good enough. You all said you didn't say it and then put it off to the next meeting until you could find someone to fill the spot. Hey, that's your prerogative. But you're taking words out of my mouth. The other things, I merely asked that we discuss it as a council. That's all. And so you can,
Well, we have another
whatever.
session tonight, so you can do that.
I can only do what's been listed on the closed session, Jim. That's the law.
Okay, the end result of this is, if you so desire, we can put communication on the workshop next
That would be
next
great.
meeting. And you can.
I'll bring my guitar. We can hold hands and sing Kumbaya for all I care.
Now, I just want, I want, if there's a question concerning the agenda, then bring it up beforehand. If there is.
I will. I think I'll even attend some of those meetings now.
Now, if there's a crisis of conscience, you have the right to come in anytime and meet with the manager, to meet with anybody that you want, as long as the manager's involved. Do you want me to stay at a town hall? You wouldn't believe the amount of work I do down here, and I'm not bragging. I like what I do. But I'm here, and Mike will tell you, and Julie will tell you, there is not a meeting. If I brought all my questions to council, our meetings would be for hours. But I clarify things. And many a times we've caught problems in there, whether it's on the bill list or something else. And that's my job. I don't mind doing it. It's what I signed up for. But at the end of the day, you can't criticize me for doing what I think is right and trying to help the town. And I think we understand that. If you were holding a meeting with the manager after school twice a week, I have no problem with that. I welcome that. It takes a lot of time to be a good council person. All I'm asking is that we work as a team up here. And if we're going to sit back and try and get each other at meetings, it's not going to work. So that's my question, that's my...
And I agree with you.
Okay, that's
and I will
fine.
say that 9 districts out of 9 districts in Ward 3 think I am a good council person. So,
Well, I'm glad for that. I'm
but,
glad for that.
I respect,
It-
So let me move on to some later notes, and we'll hash this out later. March 21st. Did I mention Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody?
Yes, you did.
All right. Friday, the coast is sponsoring a benefit for St. Baldrick's at the Bay Shore and right in Lower Township here on Bay Shore Road from 6 to 10. All the proceeds will go to St. Baldrick's, which the school is involved in raising money for pediatric cancer. And there'll be guest bartenders. I will also be there bartending, so stop in. Saturday, March 22nd, there's a benefit for our Lower Township Little League. I'll be performing there it's 7 to 10 at the VFW in Cape May. And just wanted to send out a congratulations I attended the swearing in of now Police Chief Rob Sheehan, a friend of mine. Rob went through our school system, and I'm sure most of you, and I'm sure these guys all agree he will be a great police chief in Cape May, and that's all I have. Thank you.
What do we have? I forgot to get any. Do we have anything, Eileen? You have anything on there that we got coming up? What do you have? About the school. Yeah, I think that we had an incredible decision on Friday with the school. The lawsuit we're involved with Cape May City. It was a decision I think we anticipated, we expected. The difference is the language of Acting Superintendent Bumpus is his name. And his language was very strong. And I think it was succinct, it was to the point. And basically what he said is that Cape May City's entire lawsuit, the attempt to withdraw or dissolved, was without merit. And the thing that most struck me was in his argument, he pointed out to what extent our taxes would go up 60% if they got their way in Cape May City. But I also think that what was most important was the whole argument that they could do what they intended to do without seriously impacting our school system. I think it's a folly. I think that's false. I think it would be a disaster for the school system, and they would be hurting the students. So what's the message I have here? Well, their next step is probably to ask for the same resolution that they fought against 6 months ago, that now they'll probably move forward with that. I would like to see them declare victory and go home. Just say we fought the good fight. You know, my message is to Cape May City's council, stop before we spend more money. Think of what you're doing. Understand the way that it was phrased by the acting superintendent is pretty damning as far as them continuing on what they're doing. And sometimes when you've already done some actions, you feel almost obligated to continue because you don't want to admit that maybe you have to retreat. And my advice is, look, swallow that. Let that go. You know, you have to do what's right for the school system, for the kids first. But, you know, for us to spend more money and for you to spend more money doesn't make sense. So, anyway, we were really happy. Tickled pink, I guess would be the term they use.
Tickled green.
Tickled green for St. Patty's Day, that you have this kind of a decision made. And you would expect it down the line. They're not going to win. They're not going to win. The only thing they're going to succeed in is spending money. So, and that's, we'll be dealing with our solicitor tonight, who we hired, and we want to thank the people that were involved with this initial defense of the school system. That would be Terry Crowley, Frank Campbell, Mel Wine, and some of my kitchen cabinet. Freddie out here, Freddie Long, was intricately involved with that. Janet Pitts. We forgetting anybody? I just want to thank you for that. Ed Butler was involved, so we want to thank. They did a lot of legwork, and they prepared a lot of the documents and helped, actually saved a lot of time for the people. So that being said, that's fine. We'll close the public portion and open it up to, or close the council comments, open it up for the public portion. If you have a question or a comment, step forward, and we'll take it from there. Yes. Hi, ma'am.
You know me.
Yes, I do. How have you been?
Yes. Hi, good evening, gentlemen. Jackie Henderson, Mickles Run. This is my first time at this end of the microphone.
For you.
My first comment being with the payment to Norris and such. We had a similar, maybe a little bit apples to oranges in the fall when I worked election day. And it was put on a separate resolution that in the rescue squad payment at the time. So maybe perhaps anything that comes up, you know, to a council person that requires repayment,
Right.
automatically be put on a separate resolution.
Deputy Mayor Clark abstained from that vote.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but you know, just as far as the public being able to say in that way, if there's any direct questions, they could be answered directly. Second of all, related with the school programs, the musical Peter Pan is going to be at the high school this weekend on Friday, Saturday at 7 o'clock, and on Sunday matinee at 2 o'clock. So the students there at Lower Cape May Regional will be performing that over at the high school there. And lastly, just a question. I know that there were some comments in the press about I guess with the state of New Jersey, how the governor makes a blanket state of emergency declaration when it comes to bad weather, and the repercussions of having to, I guess, pay people overtime, or certain things kick in because of that. I was wondering if there would be any petition to the Assembly or the State Senate to maybe perhaps change that so that the governor could declare states of emergency by county or by a zone or something instead of...
We can bring it up at the mayor's lunch.
Luncheon, yeah.
Oh,
From an emergency management point of view, he has the final say. They can't stop him. But the funny thing is, if this snow hit Trenton, we would all have a state of emergency for the state, but we just got into Cape May County, so...
I wonder if he declared it today for us here in Cape May County.
Probably not.
We had like 10 inches.
Don't ask.
It's an executive decision, and the legislature has no say.
Now, Pennsylvania governor, I've heard him on declaring state of emergencies, and they have a lot of counties up there, and he would specify, I'm declaring a state of emergency for the following counties. But when there's 14 inches of snow in Trenton and rain or an inch or two of snow here,
Or none at all, yeah.
it causes havoc for us. So we're looking into, see if we can get that changed.
Yeah, be interested to, to look at.
It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and,
And then you see the state highway truck sitting on the side of the road when it's rain now, getting paid to sit there to plow snow because there's 14 inches up north and there's nothing here, and they sit there for 4 hours or 8 hours, 12 hours waiting for snow that never comes.
yeah. Oh, and
It
also
seems like a waste.
stakeholders that work in this area, close the DMV when there's not a drop of snow down here.
I think he does it statewide also, just in case there's going to be federal reimbursement, as we did in the prior storms, but the storms we've been getting recently, we're not going to get that, so it's just causing a hardship to the areas that aren't getting
Well,
it.
it'd be interesting to start the conversation, because
Well,
the weather's not homogeneous.
Becky, we have spoken with our liaison at the state. We've made our objections known to the people up there that, are in power.
Yeah.
Whether it goes anywhere, who's to say? But we'll be seeing the good senator, and we'll bring it up to him. And,
Good conversation to have.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Does anybody else wish to address council? There's a gentleman here. Yes, sir.
My name is Gordon Mason. I live on Beach Drive.
Yes, sir.
A couple years ago, when a house was developed 2 doors from me, they went through the whole CAFRA filing bit. By law, they were required to include me, so I have CAFRA filings on the area. Now the township is going through a construction project, but they're not similarly required to provide the documents. I'd like an opportunity to see the filings on the new bike and walk paths that are going down Beach Drive. I'm not asking copies be made for me, anything like that. If you can give me a desk, I can come into an office.
Yeah, sure.
And I'd like to see the CAFRA filings. I'd like to see if this is going to change flood designations at all. I'd hate to find our insurance going up because we knocked some berms down. I'd like to be assured by the documents.
Okay.
And also the filing to the funding body. And if we can set up a date sometime, I'd like to sit in an office and let them know.
So,
Steve Morey, who's affiliated with our engineering firm that's working the job and secured all the permits. They've done a good job getting all the permits. And it's shop ready. And as you probably read, I'll repeat it again, that we were looking at doing a 5-year plan, hoping that each year we would get money from the New Jersey Department of Transportation to fund this project. We're looking to go before the County Board of Recreation, Open Space and Recreation Program, to try to get the full amount of money to do a one-shot deal and do that 1.5 miles. Now, if you please call my office tomorrow, talk to my secretary Eileen, and make an appointment. I'll have Steve Morey or a representative there with all the documents you'd like to see. I believe we have them in office in Bill Galestock's office currently, but I want to make sure before you come that we have everything you want to look at. And I can assure you, we're not going to create a flood issue. I think by pushing them dunes back, we're going to help the flood issue.
I hope visiting with those will answer my questions. If I have further questions, I'll ask who to.
Please call them at the manager's office. I'll be more than happy to take care
I'll
of it.
make notes as I go through. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
thank you. If somebody else had their hand up? Oh, jeez. Oh, sugar. You all right? You okay?
You okay, Jeff?
Fine.
Okay.
I just feel kind of calm.
You all right?
Yeah. Jay Young, I'm with Cape May Beach. Mr. Neville called me and told me a little bit about what was going on with the Clubhouse Road repaving project. And I guess it's going to be starting now after Labor Day?
Actually, Steve Morey's there. He could maybe have, Mark Stray gave us the timeline. In about a little bit, they're supposed to have the contract ready for go out to bid. Margaret, then they'll have it on the streets for a certain amount of days. When it comes back, I remember the August is the pre-con meeting, getting the DOT permits. The street should be blocked off and starting to be excavated and milled on September 2nd.
Okay, great. So,
And-
that will have been 25 months after I started coming and asking about that, right? So that's like over 2 years.
Yeah, that's been 4 while I was here, yes.
The question that I really have related to that is, that's the S-curve to Town Bank. Equally bad is the S-curve to Wildwood.
Yes,
When we talked, you said there was no indication of when.
I got a
That
little
was
bit better
done.
news for you. After sitting with the manager, the
Public Works.
Loper, Public Works, and a couple of the board members, the MUA is accepting responsibility for the fact that that road was not restored as it should have been. Unfortunately, the executive director that no longer works there, and given some instructions to some of the contractors that weren't exactly what should have been done. But the MUA realizes that the streets, the way they are now, are not the way they should be. And they're trying to allocate money. The contracts still, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, are open so that those contractors can still do it without bid. So that, hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers, and I'm not going to tell you before, a time, but hopefully, before the summer, those will be fixed.
Before the summer.
Hopefully. It depends on the availability of South State and, what was the other one, AD? I don't remember the 3-digit, or the 3 letters for the phase 3.
Well, whoever did the job in where I live, which is Shore Drive and
Pioneer Pipe.
that was very well done.
Oh, yeah, no, you have South State where you're at.
Right,
That's who we're hoping.
If they did that, there wouldn't be an
That's
issue.
who, that's who we're hoping to get back.
Okay, all right,
To
so,
be done, Bay Drive to be done exactly like your road is,
okay.
and all the side streets.
I'm glad to see MUA's finally taking
You all right?
Oh,
responsibility.
yeah, fine.
Fighting that for a while.
Thank you, Jay.
Anybody else wish to address council? Close the public portion.
Resolution number 2014-97, resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12. This is to discuss the Cape May School funding issue. It's a pending litigation, and all matters falling within attorney-client privileges with respect to this subject.
Okay. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
Make a motion to go to closed session.
I'll second it.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Neville?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
And Mayor Beck?
Yes.